right now we're going to hear from the lovely Carrie-Ann Hurley, good friend of mine. Football season just around the corner, so I know she's looking at all the maneuverings and who's buying who and how the team is building, but we have other important things to talk about. Notice I say other, because that's important stuff too. Definitely. But we're going to talk about the year of the youth and other things, right? Yeah. Morning.
How are you doing, Carrie?
Morning. I'm great. How are you guys?
I'm good.
Always good to be here with you.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Crop over? Are you?
Crop over.
You know, somebody corrected me yesterday because I guess I kept saying crop over is coming.
It's here.
And they told me that we are in crop over. What is coming is
Kaduma Day.
Yeah.
All right. So
clearly your cultural indoctrination still needs some work.
That's your fault.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
All right.
Anyway, Carrie, what's happening at the Family Planning Association?
Well, at Family Planning, we're busy as ever. Right now, seeing that it is summer, we have a lot of work doing across the communities with many camps, and we go and we do a lot of educational sessions, so it's been extremely busy and hectic right now in that department. But things are good.
Well, tell us about International Year of the Youth and you know, what this means for youth, what you're trying to do during this time.
Well, this is a time where we want all young people to just come together and really let their voices be heard, especially pertaining to issues that they think are extremely important. It's a time where they get an opportunity to speak, you know, and to express their views, to give not just highlight issues, but also to give solutions, because you don't want people just criticizing and saying, well, we don't get this, we don't get that, blah, blah. But it's a time to hear what solutions young people may have and to see how we can incorporate them into our day-to-day decision making, and thus trying to make our programming more effective. And we definitely do that at Family Planning.
So how do they do this? What are the platforms available to them?
Well, I can speak primarily to Family Planning, and well, you know, we have the youth advocacy movement there, which is the youth arm of Family Planning, and we definitely make sure that they are involved in the decision making. When we are planning our youth programs, we have them be a part of that planning process so they can give input, they give feedback as to, okay, well, we did this before, it didn't quite work how we wanted it to work or whatever, so what are the shortcomings? Where do we need to beef it up? What information are we missing out on? What do we need to include? Because, you know, with young people, things change quickly. Culture changes. I mean, even down to terminology is being used, that changes. So we are constantly revamping our programming to ensure that it is effective and is specific and is targeted. Not just doing things just for doing things' sake, but there's a specific purpose behind it.
With this year being designated International Year of Youth, do we have in the Caribbean or in Barbados a specific focus for our young people, or is the association attempting to simply raise awareness of issues that affect young people specifically?
Well, raising awareness that's kind of like a common thread through everything we do. That's important, and that's a part of advocacy, raising awareness, highlighting the particular issues, right? But definitely next month we're going to be having International Day of the Youth, which is August 12th. I think it is, yes, August 12th. And I know on the 13th there's going to be the Youth Festival, the National Youth Festival, and that's a day where all young people, all youth groups come together and we just talk about our the different groups that we're in. You get an opportunity to do recruitment, to so that persons get to know more about the different organizations and what we do, and you get to share and kind of rub shoulders with each other and support. So across the nation there is a movement of young people coming together. We see that we're moving away from the territorial type, you know, attitude where it's like, well, it's me over here doing my thing, you over there doing yours or whatever, and we're networking a lot more. We're trying to get persons to come on board because, yes, at Family Planning, the movement may have a good handle on issues pertaining to sexuality and sexual health, but there may be other aspects of youth issues that persons may come to us and say, we want you to address that. We may not be aptly equipped or skilled to really address properly, so we need to network. So therefore we outsource and we work with other youth groups to make sure that the approach is holistic.
Yeah, I was about to ask that because I know we've had you a number of times on the program and we know where you're coming from and how much work you all are doing at the Family Planning Association, but what is the environment, you know, the landscape? We know that there's supposed to be the youth policy and all this stuff, but are you feeling confident that, you know, overall, and the powers that be who could actually legislate and make changes, are you feeling confident of how that is going?
I think it's a work in progress. I think at this stage there is still a lot that needs to go into even the youth policy itself. And this again is where young people have the opportunity to speak and to say, well, look, we've been over the youth policy, we've been to all the meetings, etc., and this is where we think we can improve, we can add. And not necessarily just, like I said at the beginning, don't just criticize for criticizing's sake, but make sure you have some type of positive input. Your criticism needs to be positive and needs to be targeted, so that when the information comes out, it is something that can be taken and adapted and put in place, so that the policies are actually representing what's happening on the ground. Because we find that happens too often, where you have policies that are just that, they're policies, but when it comes to the policies being able to really make a difference on the ground level, the day-to-day workings, then that becomes a bit of a challenge. So we want to make sure that in terms of advocacy, young people are actively being a part of the whole process.
And you have, I don't know if you've seen the policy, but you are happy with the way it addresses all the issues that you are concerned with, sexual health, in terms of young people and how they approach it?
Well, right now, the youth advocacy movement is actually in a process of reviewing the policy and giving their feedback, so that we can give a concise input to the ministry to say, well, look, specifically in the area that we work in, but we think that, you know, these are the areas that we need to see more emphasis being placed, or maybe you missed out something that, you know. So we are actively doing that process right now.
In your view, what's at the top of the list, though, in terms of priority?
For the entire policy or just for us?
For you.
Well, for us, I think it's always about empowerment and education. And we need to get young people to really start to mesh the knowledge with the behavior, and that continues to be our biggest issue. They have all the information, they have the knowledge, but then when it comes down to the behavior and applying that knowledge, it just doesn't happen the way we would like it to. So, and especially now, as you said, we're going into crop over. We know what this season brings in terms of everybody just let down their hair and all the inhibitions go, and everybody's just about having a good time. But we want people to still be mindful of the fact, you know, you have to think about your health. You have to use the responsibility that has been given to you, and to ensure that you do things in a safe and healthy way, whatever activities you decide to get involved in. So that's one of our biggest concerns.
Okay. Carrie-Ann, I'm going to ask you to do a bit of further introspection now and tell me if there was one area of that you would like to see young people more motivated and more active in affecting change in their own destiny, really. What would it be?
I think one of the things that I am seeing right now that I'm really concerned with is the level of the low self-esteem that we see among many young people. We have many young people who are very positive and they're powerful and they're doing great things, but there are a great number of them that are, their self-esteem is so low that they're not motivated to do anything. You can talk, you can encourage, you can do all kind of things, but for whatever, and remember, when we're talking about human behavior, you're talking about a lot of other dynamics that come into play. It's not just the individual on an island. You have the home, you have the socialization at school, among friends, peer groups, peer pressure. You have abuse sometimes that comes into the picture that can, you know, alter how a person sees themselves and approaches life and experiences. So there's so many things, you know, finances, all these things can impact how an individual sees themselves and where they fit into the whole picture. But I think that we need to do a lot more work with young people in terms of building self-esteem, because if you have a strong self-esteem, you are able to navigate your way through the turbulent teens and, you know, what youth is all about in a healthy way.